Don't want to. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll
There's
work.
a baby downstairs being told to shush.
Yeah. Let's figure out how to do this. Shouldn't be hard, eh? Do you do it like this? Oh no, you just do it on the collar. I don't really have a
Mine
collar.
wasn't
I
magnetised.
don't use the magnet.
What do you mean? I just do this.
Don't you have a clip? Yeah,
Yeah.
just clip it on. There you go.
Genius.
Clip it on. Alrighty.
Oh,
Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the Foxy Property Chat podcast. We have Jake and Phoebe. Jake, you had a birthday weekend.
sure did. Long weekend too.
It's a good one.
It was a good one. Yep.
Did you get some good gifts?
Got some very nice gifts and had a nice night out with a bunch of people. Surprise. So yeah, had a very good time.
It was a surprise party. Phoebe, you did well
I did. It
organising
was
that.
still a surprise by the time
Yeah.
we got there. So,
Dad didn't give it away.
oh yeah, Sammy
He
did.
almost did.
Jake just didn't ask questions because Jake doesn't like to ruin surprises.
I didn't want to. If someone's going to the effort of trying to surprise me, I don't want to ruin that.
Okay.
We haven't done one of those for about 8 years, so it's good. And the food was amazing, so it's good.
Where'd we go?
We went to Babylon in the city, and they do Middle Eastern cuisine, and it was sublime.
Yeah, it was very nice. I'll vouch for that.
Mm.
All right, we've got some questions to get through. Let's just jump straight in. And a shout out to Shane and Jane from Beautiful Living NZ, who will be visiting us in about an hour and 10 minutes.
If
At
they're
our
on time.
warehouse, that's right.
We should have waited for them. They could have jumped on the podcast.
Live questions.
Yeah, they usually ask us questions, so maybe they're watching on their drive up from the Gold Coast. Hello if you are, if not. All good, let's move on. So first question from PC Staging. As a new staging business, I would love to know how you deal with vendors who want to tell you where to put everything and the style and have their input. My recent vendor wanted an industrial style in a 70s arch brick home. I styled it as a Mediterranean-ish style to accentuate the arches. How do you deal with that type of situation?
We are very forthcoming, I would say, in that we very much style a home for how the home needs to be presented. So I 100% I know the situation that you're in. We've gone into plenty of 70s brick homes and been asked to style them as Hamptons vibe, or being told that it needs to be coastal when you've walked into a very contemporary property. We had one last week. But at the consultation, we have a discussion about how the home needs to be presented, and if we go down the path of presenting it in a Hamptons feel, it's going to be detrimental to the sale price. So before that job locks in, before I even do selections for that job, at our consultation, we will have a conversation about how the home won't be presented. It doesn't commit us to actually styling it or actually doing any particular colour palette or any theme, but it does let the clients know what not to expect, because if they are expecting us to go Hamptons and we come and style it something differently, that is a lot harder conversation to have if you haven't met expectations, rather than having and setting those expectations before you get the job.
That makes sense. Jake, anything to add?
I've got nothing to add to that one. Very well done. Good answer.
Very well done. All right. Next couple questions from Kaya came through just this morning through Instagram. And for anyone listening, if you ever want anything answered, just let us know. I always appreciate the questions. How do we get our first client?
That was lots of phone calls.
Yeah.
Lots of phone calls, and the offer to jump onto have a feature on our blog at the time.
Yep.
A Q&A. The very first agent I did work for, it was I met with her and we didn't get the work through. I probably did about 6 quotes for her before one of them locked in, and we were a backup stylist at that point because her original stylist wasn't available, and it was just persistence.
So I don't know if I asked it right. They were also asking how they could get
How
their
they
first
can.
client. So would
Okay.
you recommend similar?
Oh yeah.
The answer's the same. It's nobody knows you, so you have to get people to know you, and you have to be, I guess, upfront with them. There's no point going in and pretending like you are the same stylist as the one that has done hundreds of jobs and that they know.
Better yet, discuss your differences.
Yeah,
Tell them
yeah.
why you're different, why you're better, why you might resonate more with the area that they're wanting styled, or that
And
type of thing.
lean into the fact that you're
Yeah.
new, and that you just want a chance. You want to show, you can talk about your background or your experience or why, you'll do a good job. But I don't think it's, some people feel like you have to fake it till you make it, pretend like you've done all this for years. You don't have to. Sometimes I think you're better off being honest about that answer and, being upfront. We haven't done a lot of these before, but we've got X, Y, and Z behind us. We've done our own. Here's our experience. We've done our own jobs. Whatever it is, but we'd love to just have a chance. We give them some. I don't like using the word guarantees, but give them some confidence in how you'll work, how you'll communicate beforehand to make sure that you're on the same page with expectations. You'll go back and make changes if there's anything that isn't quite right. All those sorts of things to give them confidence to give you the chance.
I think at the moment, something that I didn't appreciate back when we first started, conversations that I'm having with homeowners and with agents. So if an agent specialises in selling homes for families that are upsizing, that's a conversation now that I lean into that conversation. It's something that I can have. I am the target market. I have 4 children. I am after a nice big property that has 3 living areas, that has the 5 bedrooms. I am that target market. So I will discuss the fact that I gel and I resonate with it 100%. Whereas before, same as if you're older and you can help resonate with a target market that's downsizing, or maybe you're younger and you could definitely resonate with young professionals who are looking to get their first home. Lean into the area that you can help specialize and help resonate with, because that gives you more credibility without necessarily needing the work to show you, because you've got basically that's your background. So you don't need the work to back that up, because you are who you are.
And she follow-on question: when Foxy first started, how did they take photos for Instagram/website? I'm guessing she means without having real work to photograph.
It was just me and my phone.
Yeah.
I would jump on. I had the what's the thing in the car that you put your phone on?
The mount.
There you go. The mount. And I would just sit there and have a conversation on a live or record a video and just say hello. And that's basically pretty much all of our stories at the very start were me face to face with the camera. And then all of the photos were just me taking the images. And then as I got more stylists on board, so Cassie came on board and she had the iPhone and would actually take the time to edit the photos and edit them really well. And that's when it sort of stepped up a level. And then Cody came on board, and then obviously our videos massively stepped up a level. But everything we've done, pretty much, with the exception of some of what Sean's done on a camera, has been on the phone. So you can put out quality content
especially
using
now.
a phone.
The phones are crazy.
Yeah.
What about if, I don't know if it was meaning this, but what about if she's wanting to put some photos up on a website or social media and she hasn't done any work yet?
Yeah, see, that's really hard.
Yeah.
So
we had a similar thing with our brochures at the beginning.
I used stock images on their brochures. They were very American, because that's pretty much where the stock images are based. But then there are other things that you can do to help you get some experience. Go to a bedroom workshop and take photos of the bedroom you've made. Go to Adairs and take some photos of the cushions that you're shopping at, or make it look like you're shopping for a client, or like that type of thing. There are ways around use your own bedroom. I've seen plenty of stylists who start off using their own house, styling different areas within the house. I know we put photos of the kids' nursery that I designed before it went up. You have to start somewhere. Use space that you have.
Yeah.
And then make a lot of use out of the first job you ever get. Take photos from every angle, every room. You don't have to use them all in one go, but make the most of what you do have available to you.
Okie doke. How often do you have team building or social events? Is there any sort of structure to this?
This is a good question you asked this morning, Cody.
Yeah, not too far off. And also from the staff point of view, is it paid time or unpaid time? How does that work?
A bit of, I guess in terms of this, it's a combo in terms of paid, in work hours and outside of work hours. We've put more structure to it this year, I think, than we have in previous years. Although in previous years we've still done the team bonding, the work events. We have basically aimed to do a more significant thing every 3 months. They're all a little bit different, some more significant than others. In the last 2 years, we've also done, a weekend away at the end of the year, because we've hit certain objectives as a business. So we've taken the team away, Christmas parties, that sort of thing. So every 3 months, something where the whole team goes. Generally, it's outside of hours, and in that sense, I guess it's not paid. Although we do also, in previous years, we've done a day off. We've done a high ropes course, and we did it during the work hours for a day. So we gave them a day off to come and do that. The Christmas event, when we went away for a weekend, we did it on the beginning of a weekend where we took the half a Thursday and a Friday off. We also do jump in at any point if you want to add to that.
Those two that you've just given examples of, the high ropes and the Foxy Vacay, they're both at the conclusion of significantly busy periods. So honestly, the day we did High Ropes is the first day where we didn't have 6 installs scheduled for a very, very long time. So that they have been sort of the conclusion. So basically, we've got it structured so we'll do 2 days off, require some days off, paid time off for the client, for our staff, and then the others are after hours, so the escape rooms,
like a Friday night sort of.
Friday something where we can go have a good time out.
And then outside of that, we do little things throughout, more often where we're doing, pizzas and beers after work or something like that. We
Breakfast.
do, the breakfast here and there. We do once a month a birthday kind of afternoon tea during work hours as well. So we try and do the significant things, but also the little things throughout the months as well.
I would love to know what else, if anybody else
do.
does anything though. I like what else other people. So for example, Place currently, so Place is a real estate agency that has been franchised within Brisbane. They're only in Brisbane, but there's multiple offices. They currently have all of their top writers all over in Queenstown. Gone to reward them. They do Black Club, which that's not what this is, I don't believe. This is what they're over there for, is they're people who are doing phenomenally well and they're helping them expand and get better. So they're all over there doing that now. So would love to know what other people do.
Emily recently had her graduation thing. We popped some social media stuff up around that. What's she graduating, and what is required to graduate?
So it's our stylist training manual. Anybody who starts and has a position as a stylist here at Foxy, they go through a training manual that I developed several years ago when we were starting to get more and more stylists through, and I found myself being very repetitive with the things that I was teaching. So I thought, well, why not bring in my university days and obviously create a bit of a manual so that I'm not repeating myself. It's written down and it sets expectations. So they start it from day one, and it'll take them through from having no knowledge about property styling all the way through to being able to successfully style anything that comes through our door, whether or not it be high-end, vacant, integrated, small or big. The graduation project is the culmination of all those learnings. So it in particular is a very large job. It needs to have at least 2 trucks, and the reason it needs to have 2 trucks is because I am there to watch the stylist and their communication, their level of efficiency, and how thorough and clear they are with that communication. I know by the time they get to the point of graduation project, which is normally 9 to 12 months in, that they are great with their styling. They can't get to that point without being absolutely fantastic and knowing how we style a property. At that point is seeing how they manage staff, how they communicate, how they know where pieces need to go without actually being in the room. They can start to understand the space and how to present the space really well without being in the space. The project was also a really good identifier, I think, for me to see those who are going to be really great at going forward into more senior positions, because you can see those who can manage people well and who can communicate with more authority than others. And have that confidence. So that's what the graduation project is. So now they're fully signed off. They can do anything that comes through our door. We then start looking at bringing in objectives for them and bringing in projects that help them to achieve things that they're personally interested with in the business, and then going forward from there.
Jake, does the logistics team have anything equivalent?
We have it's not quite the same. It's not as structured as that, and we don't necessarily have a graduation kind of moment, I guess. We've got, and some of this is quite new, we've got some training that we do in particular from an offsider point of view in terms of learning the names of furniture, learning a lot of the details and the things that those that are new to the team often miss or don't understand. So we've got some a little bit more structured training in that sense that happens in the warehouse. We also, in terms of, I guess the equivalent to the a stylist graduating would be for us somebody ticking off that they can load a truck and they're a qualified offsider. So they get to that point where we can start talking about does this person now have the leadership to become a team leader and run a truck. It is something that we've spoken about. I did start a training manual, writing it down and getting that in place. It's
a while ago
on the back burner a little bit, and it is something that I'd like to do, but at the moment we feel like we do have the training in place for those things. We just don't have that moment of graduation, but I guess it's more for us that promotion to a team leader, a truck leader, when they get to that point. And that'll, like I said, the loading, the offsiding, and having the truck license to be able to actually drive the truck and run a truck.
Yep.
Not very close to your microphone.
You were introducing the tracking car travel stuff.
Yep.
A couple of weeks back. How's that gone? And what are they called? How's your experience been?
The app is called Driver's Note, and they have what they call a beacon, an iBeacon, I think it is, that you can link to your app, and then it just sits in the car. It's like an e-tag, like a toll tag. We haven't distributed those to all the stylists yet. We've had a couple of things that didn't quite work the way we thought they would, so I'm just figuring out how to get around a few things, making sure that it's tracking the right things and the right times, within work hours, and trying to identify I'm trying to figure out how I can identify the personal travel versus work travel, and making sure that it's an easy process for me, but also not too onerous on the stylist to have to record and edit and all that sort of thing. So it should work out. I think there's ways to do it. There's one or two things I still have to figure out.
Yep. Do your consult stylists write a report for with each consult? I'd love to figure out a way to do more than one a day.
Actually, I saw that come through. That was from Shamrock Design, yeah?
Yep.
So, yes, we do. So that's part of our consults, our quote that we do. So a vacant property, obviously the quotation that we get through it's very, it's a standard basically package that we can put together. They come together really quite quickly. An integrated one does take some time, and what we less of a report, more of a checklist for our vendors. So we'll go through each room by room, letting them know what we need to hire, store, and what we're going to use that's in the property. And it's basically helps them. It lists out everything individually, so they know what needs to be offsite by the time we get there. We know what we need to put into another room. It gives us a design plan, and we will do that for every single job, whether or not we know they're going ahead with us. So yes, it's time onerous on our part, but it's our first stage, and to be honest, it helps a lot of our vendors go, well, actually, it's just going to be so much easier if I just get them through. If they take that and they go and style their property using the information that we've given them, that's awesome because they've still achieved a better price. But most of the time we do hear back from them, and even if they tell one other person about how awesome it was and that they could use our stuff, and that person comes to us, that's worth it. So those reports, though, they don't take a day. So we get everything back within the day, but we could send probably 5 within the same day, and then a couple of vacant ones in there as well. So that's having done the consults as well on the same day. So
that's purely really because you've got a template, and you've also a template, whatever you want to say, and then so a lot of the kind of start and finish stuff is generic, and then in the middle is where you put in your detail that's specific to that property.
So the intro and the exit.
So you have something set up that helps save you time. And then it's also just experience. Like you do so many of these, and you and Emily and those doing the quotes get used to how to do them quickly.
Yeah. So again, our consult stylists have a training manual they go through before they even get to the point of being able to sit down and do them. They have to have done at least 50. So that gives them that knowledge base, and the awareness of what we can use, what would be ideal to use if it's a budget job, what we need to sort of compromise on for those clients. That they have that without being questioned, so they're not doubting themselves. So that makes it go faster, the confidence.
Yeah. Can you read that? I think someone commented.
I think someone's saying the microphones. We might have been.
That's probably Jake.
Yeah, I might need to lean a bit closer.
Well, they wouldn't be hearing this microphone anyway, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Yell.
Yeah, no, all good.
How could you read that?
Question.
Good eyes.
What do you do with your linen if... I think we've answered something.
If someone sleeps in it?
Sleeps in it, yeah.
Yeah, they keep it.
That might have been the last podcast.
Yeah, we quote when a client's living in the property, we quote that they keep the linen. Whether or not it's normally what I'm buying at the moment is the chunky waffle from Target because I love it, and it stays in good condition. So that way I don't have to do washing, and I don't get upset that they've slept in linen.
All right, under and overrated section, virtual staging.
Overrated. Give your answer. Do you want me to expand?
No, I don't like it. Overrated.
No, I think most staging companies would have a similar sort of take on this, and that is that while it looks good in a picture, and a lot of people will say, well, it's the same thing, it sets an expectation for those that will see the pictures, and then you turn up to a property and there's nothing in it, or it feels smaller than what the pictures made it out to be, or there's scratches on the floor that you didn't know were going to be there, and so it increases expectations, and then looking
That's
at
not
it.
a very good example. Scratches on the floor.
Well, there's things that are hidden, or it
Yeah.
doesn't. You don't realize that a room is narrow or the window's in a weird place or whatever, because the angles that they're showing the photos at and the way they've put the furniture maybe distracts from some of those things.
To the credit of the photographers that provide it as a service, there is a significant difference in the quality of virtual staging. It's definitely down to the price that you pay. And there are some that are actually putting in a lot of effort to make it look realistic. And like we styled a property recently where they had it virtually staged based off the furniture that we would send. Like it looked like one of our installs.
Yeah, right.
And I've spoken to the photographer. They based it off our furniture. So they are putting the effort into
Yep.
replicating, and it does look good, except that property looked nothing like what you would expect to do when you walked in.
Right.
And that, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good the photos are. When if you walk in and it's empty and it looks different,
Yeah.
it's if anything, it's a
Sets it
letdown.
up.
There's even if it still would look like without the photos, if somebody walked in, you're almost better off having vacant photos and vacant, open homes, because at least then you're not setting an expectation of what people are walking in and expecting to see there.
Yeah, sure. Property listing videos. You see them all over social media. Do you think they're over or
I
underrated?
actually think they're underrated.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't watch them, to be honest, but I'm not
How many-
necessarily buying a house or looking to buy a house. So
No, well, over the last year, with all the interstate buyers, particularly while we're in some like border lockdowns, all that sort of thing, they were a necessity. But for me, look at if I was buying, still when I'm not buying, I will look at the photo, then the video, and make a decision on whether or not I want to go to the property.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why virtual styling does a disservice, because if there is a video of a vacant property and styled virtually, you're already off my list.
Bench seats instead of chairs at a dining table.
Overrated.
you don't see them that often, but yeah, I'd
You
say
see them more often.
overrated. I don't like them.
They're a thing.
Are they really?
There are.
Some properties have them built in.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, but some, I guess, yeah.
Actually, is that what
some
you're
of-
talking about? Or bench, like a...
Like bench seats. No, you can
Is
move.
this your
like
wife
a-
that's asking this question?
Yeah, I get a lot of these from Talia.
Yeah, 'cause she did say she wanted that. So the bench, yeah.
Sorry, Tyler.
Well, I could only imagine sitting
know
on
she
that bench
wanted
with
it.
2 other children would be a pain in the butt. So
I don't like the idea of
having to get in and out, it's trickier. Yeah.
Seems like you're at a
bar.
a booth or something.
Yeah. We have a couple of outdoor settings that have bench seats, but you got a lot more space out there, and maybe out. I don't know. That feels different. Indoor.
The reason you have them inside is for space. If it's too narrow, it helps. Really helps with that narrow
Yep.
space.
Having a clear desk.
Stop looking at me. My desk is never neat and tidy and clear, but I would still probably say no. I'm going to say overrated. Who cares? I know where stuff is. I know what's important, and eventually I find out what's not, and I can toss it. It's okay. It all
Couple years
works.
later.
It all works.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever thrown anything.
I don't lose stuff. Very often.
Oh,
Famous last
I'm
words.
clipping that. What are we at? About 20 minutes in. Clip that for when you lose something. Very
The only
soon.
time I lose it is when Phoebe gets so annoyed at my dirty or messy desk that she cleans it.
Wait, so you
throw stuff
the
away
only
then.
time you lose something is
When
someone
Phoebe
else's
throws
fault.
it.
That's
Didn't we have
very
the whole
true.
thing on accountability recently?
I'm accountable for my desk space.
Yeah,
It's
right.
okay.
Phoebe,
Overrated.
overrated?
It's underrated. You're so much more productive with a clear desk space.
Clear desk, clear mind.
When you could efficiently find said piece of paper that you put there a year ago.
There you
A
go.
year ago.
Okay, last one, and thanks Talia
Yes.
for this one as well. Built-in cabinetry, so like desks.
underrated.
And ETUs. and stuff.
Underrated. It just
Yeah.
it lifts the caliber of your property. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only downside is obviously if you don't want it there or you want something changed.
Yeah, I guess if you put it in a room where your layout is pretty much determined anyway because of the
Yeah.
layout of the room.
like a desk or something.
Yeah, or like some living rooms, like our living room, there's only ever going to be one place we're going to put a TV. So having a built-in
Yeah, but
thing there makes
we can
sense.
take it out of study. Take the desk out.
True.
Why can't
Yeah,
you take it out?
yeah, you could
Yeah,
change
you
it.
can take it
Undoable?
out, Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's it. Thank you, Phoebe. Thank you, Jake.
No worries.
Thanks
Thanks,
everyone
Cody.
for listening. For questions, as I mentioned, if you've got questions for the next one, send them through. I love them. Otherwise, we'll see you back here next week or whenever we do another podcast.
Probably next week.
Bye.